So, Mr. Su, thank you very much that you agreed to do this interview. Welcome to Astana. I know you know Kazakhstan well because you led UNDP in early 2000s here. So, how does it feel to return here after all these years?
I feel very excited to come back to Kazakhstan. I have worked in Kazakhstan, in fact, twice in the past, from 1995 to 1997,
Mm-hmm.
when the country's GDP per capita was about 1,000 US dollars. When I came back the second time as the head of UN resident coordinator and as the UNDP resident representative in 2007, the country already developed quite significantly. And I remember that the GDP per capita was about 7,000 US dollars. Today I came back again. The GDP per capita of Kazakhstan is 14,000 US dollars. So you can see that the country has developed significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not only in terms of income, the poverty rate has decreased to 4-5%, to a very low level, right? And it's continuing to decrease. So that, makes me really excited to see the progress the country has steadily been making.
Yes,
Very
that.
impressive.
So, let me ask you this question. Today, what are the key programs UNDP is developing here in our region, in Kazakhstan as well?
Kazakhstan has set its goal to become 30th most developed countries in the world by 2050.
Mm-hmm.
It also sets a goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060, right? It wants to demonstrate its national development success, but also regional leadership. So in line with this kind of objectives, UNDP is working with the government to provide some support. One is to address some challenges of regional imbalance, right, in terms of level of development. So we are working with the Ministry of National Economy to support regional development in different areas of the country, like Abai, district, right,
Yeah.
where the level of development is relatively low. So we're working with the government to support the local development, localization of the SDGs, for example, local budgeting, development of local infrastructure, and entrepreneurships and so forth. So I think this is one area to help the regions to catch up to the national level.
Mm-hmm.
The second area is governance, continue the governance innovation, because for the country to achieve development, the institutions has to be strong and effective. Under the reform program of the President Tokayev, we work with government institutions to continue to innovate, right? And to, for example, to develop digital solutions for service delivery, reduce the level of corruption in the process so the citizens get the service that they want. And there's some other problems. So we're really focusing on helping the government to achieve its national development objectives.
Mm-hmm. Is there a plan to position Kazakhstan as a regional hub for UNDP here in this region in Central Asia?
There are many issues that require regional collaboration. For example, the issue of climate change, right? For climate change, you need a national action, first of all.
Yeah.
So Kazakhstan is taking its action. We're working with the government to develop the third generation of nationally determined contributions. Kazakhstan has set the goal to reduce carbon emission by 25%,
Mm-hmm.
right? Compared to 1990 levels, right? So to achieve that, you need a lot of specific planning, capacity development, programs of implementation. You need financing. So we're working with the government on this at a national level. But at the regional level, we're also supporting other countries, right, to achieve the national objectives. But regional cooperation is also important. For example, we're working with the government of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan together, right, to develop climate adaptation programs for the ROC region, right? So Kazakhstan is trying to work with different countries in the region to achieve the reduction of carbon emissions and climate adaptation, water resource management issues right across the region. So there are very important regional collaborations that are taking place. Yes.
I've got two more questions to conclude our conversation. To take a broader view, we know that there are many big conflicts or big crises in Ukraine, in Gaza, in Sudan. So how is UNDP providing assistance or help in these areas, in this regard?
There are a lot of so-called protracted crises in the world, right? That means it's not short-term. It is protracting, it's lasting for a long time. That creates challenges for humanitarian assistance, because humanitarian assistance is meant for life-saving, for emergency response. But for protracted crisis, humanitarian assistance is not getting people out of crisis. And you create also aid dependency. So what the UNDP is trying to do is to use development to help reduce the burden on humanitarian assistance, and also plant the seeds for recovery and reconstruction. So this means that we use our development DNA to implement activities that are important for recovery and for construction later. For example, in Gaza, we're working a lot with the local communities to manage solid waste, because solid waste is a source of public health threat. So if not managed for very crowded campsites, you have a really risk of public disease outbreak. So with very challenging conditions, we coordinate with the different sites, right, including with Israeli authorities, with local Palestinian communities and groups. We have, for example, removed 300,000 tons of solid waste from these campsites, so that you can manage the public health more effectively. We're also using solar-powered water desalination stations to provide clean drinking water to 600,000 people daily, right? So by doing this kind of work, it's not traditional humanitarian life-saving handouts, but we're using our development capabilities to address the urgent needs of a humanitarian crisis, but also helping the communities, to develop opportunities for recovery. And there are many such examples in Gaza, but also in Ukraine.
One last question. Talking about this global crisis and tensions, how do you see the development of UN? Because there is a lot of discussions that there is a need for UN reforms and etc.
The UN structure is quite complex, right? We have many agencies. Sometimes, they have overlapping mandates, and that also creates competition for resources. So for UN to be more effective in development, we needed to, continue to implement reforms. For example, can we reduce the number of agencies so that we can have more, focus in our work, right? So in Ukraine, for example, the UNDP provides a lot of support to the government. Last year, we spent $250 million, right, in different areas, in energy, for example, in demining, right, in service delivery, public infrastructure recovery. But if we can work more effectively, across the UN agencies, right, maybe, the results will be even more effective. So we're looking at these kind of questions, how we can improve our coordination structure, right? How we can work more effectively across different UN agencies, working together, have more joint programs. And these are the issues that member states are also asking us to review and to, innovate, right? So I think definitely this issue will continue to receive high levels of attention. Yes.
Mr. Su, thank you very much for the job that you're doing, and thank you very much for your dedication.
My pleasure.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.